conversation. You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio, and now it is time for Aperture and Shutter Speed. That's right, we are Montgomery County's film and photography show. That was a little Outcast, hey, shaky like a Polaroid, right, guys?
Yeah.
No?
Yep.
I miss those Polaroids a lot. Yeah, you can bring that closer to you. You got it? You got it, Ansel?
Yep.
There we go. Ansel's in the house. That's right, you're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. talking about film and photography with me, Dick Schissler.
Tom Moore, TR Moore Photos, and Ansel A. We got a new name for him, Ansel A, instead of Ansel Arnold, or we're just going to call him Ansel A, because you might think it's Ansel Adams.
Yeah, back from the dead. That's really creepy. But yes, so we got Ansel in, and I hope he listened to last week's show.
I did.
Because we talked about you nonstop. I think we all have a big man crush on Ansel.
No, I don't.
So, I know.
I think he's a nice guy.
I mean, I got a huge crush on him.
Break. Okay.
But yeah, we're here listening to Aperture. Oh, golly, this is the beginning of the show.
Okay.
But so today's topics, we got sports photography. We got equipment to talk about, and we have really cool things going on with Ansel, and then especially with TR Moore Photos and I. Let's kick off the segment with a wedding we shot on Saturday
At La Toretta. Outside and inside.
The weather was nice.
It was amazing.
It was good
weather.
So
I thought it would be, 92, 3 degrees and 85% humidity, and everybody be just melted on the concrete. But it didn't happen. It was amazing.
It was nice. Is all you want to say, Tom?
No, absolutely not. It's very nice folks. Everyone's very amenable, easy to get along with. There's no strife. They had an open bar. That always helps a little bit. People really maintained well. I mean, even though they were drinking, tequila by the...
Yeah, I like that. I really wanted to
truckload.
That's when the ethical decision comes in as a photographer. Is like, can I just get plastered too?
Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do that, but I didn't do that.
See, that's the worst thing. That's one of the worst situations to be in. Everyone's having fun and you can't.
Well, how about you leaving and you didn't even have a drink or eat anything?
Well, I had to go.
You go chase that girl down.
Well, which one?
There you go. You get yourself in more trouble.
I do. I always do.
More. I bet she's listening now.
Oh, golly. But no, it was a lot of fun, and the pictures were easy. Everyone was easy. That's what's so nice when you're doing a photo shoot like that.
So, Dick, why were the pictures easy?
Well, because of the equipment. Tom,
because you had what kind of a camera?
I had a 7D.
7D.
I used a 7D, and then I've been playing with. I would love to play with that camera. I was playing with it all time, like it's all week that you let me use it. And
you can get one for about $1,700.
Well, I know. I'm a cheap person.
Or
man.
you can get the Sony A7.
No, we'll talk about that stuff coming up. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so
about the same amount.
It was fun shooting. The only interesting story I had was I was sitting there taking pictures of everyone kind of eating or sitting down and getting ready to start drinking and dancing, and this lady approaches me and she's like, "Can you take a picture of me with my husband?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." But the bride was about to come out, so I told her, "I'll come if you see me later. Ask me again because I'm getting in position for I guess what they call the introduction of the people, of the bride and groom." And so that happens, and she comes up to me later again. She's like, I need you to take a picture of me." And my husband's like, "Okay." So I'm getting ready to take the picture. She's like, No. Use my camera. So I'm sitting here with.
Why don't you just get a friend of you to do it?
Oh no, it was one of the most bizarre deals because I have this nice camera and I'm obviously with the photographer. I'm with you,
right.
And it's my job to take pictures for the whole wedding. But she wanted me to use this little point and shoot, and that same point and shoot sucked. But I was like, why?
Not even her phone.
Yeah, like it's just like, here, just use this. And that's when I was like, no, I'm not messing with this. Like I gotta go take pictures. Like I don't mind taking a picture of you with my camera.
Well, that photographer was so snotty. He wouldn't even take a photo.
I totally thought about that afterwards. It's like, did I come off rude? But then I kind of did tell her, I was like, I can't because, I'm being paid to be here to take pictures for the couple. I don't mind taking pictures of.
Yeah, should have used your camera.
Yeah.
And I could have given her a quality shot.
And that was the funniest thing is when I told her that, She didn't even want the picture. I was going to take a picture of her with the camera, and she's like, no. And I'm like, what is going on with this woman? And it was really funny to me.
And she hadn't had anything to drink yet.
No, and and because when
she needs to call in and explain herself.
No, we could tell. I guess we could tell listeners, if you want to call in and tell me to shut up, you can. That's right. Tom promised he won't get out of control today, so
I'm gonna have to hold myself back.
We don't have to worry about that.
It's a struggle.
You can call in 936-647-3776. 936-647-3776 for talking to us. We're talking about sports photography today, and also right now the wedding we shot. Other than that, what was interesting about the location at La Torretta is there's so much stuff going on there that I couldn't really tell who was with what. And there was a picture I really wanted to get because there was like a lifeguard, something with lifeguards or something was going on during the wedding. And these girls and this older gentleman, they were all wearing like those skinny tube tops, and they're really bright green. Did you see those people? And they were walking through, and I really wanted to get a setup shot with them walking through the wedding. Like they literally walked through the wedding. And
that's rude.
Well, yeah, because there's no way to get around because the wedding literally is in the middle of.
Yeah, but they could have gone.
Oh,
out
they could
the
have,
side,
but they were doing it.
But they just did it.
And I really wanted to get a picture of it because it looked out of place. Like
right.
you got these, they're all wearing.
That would have been neat.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, what's going on here? But then, of course, you find the smokers. The smokers are always the funnest. And later, I guess it's funny with drunk people because that's always fun to shoot drunk people because they're ready to do silly faces and they yell at you and stuff like that. So. But overall, the equipment, you let me use that 70 to 200 lens, and that changed the whole ball game for me. So
changed your life.
It did. That lens is amazing.
It's the beginning of a new thing, a new era in your life.
Yeah, I have a new obsession. I had an affair this weekend. That's what happened.
With a camera.
With a camera lens. And
you did not go against the 10th Commandments then. You're okay.
I'm okay. But yeah, that was and using that lens, it changed the way I was shooting the shots and how I was approaching it. Because I was getting shots before that were kind of full frame, like it's a lot of stuff going on. And this allowed me to focus on the little things like the smiles or the way the endearing looks they're giving each other, so you can actually see that detail with them holding each other's hands and see the nervousness or see the pacing. And it's really, I like that because you get a little bit more. And what's really funny about weddings that I like, if I always take the worst photos that people think they're bad, but I like them because it shows a lot of character. Like, for example, there's some photos of the son who's just staring into nothing. And he's just like, it's kind of like that, man, let's just get this over with. Like, I am ready to go. I love those photos, but no one else seems to appreciate them. Did you get any photos like that, Tom?
Yeah, I like those photos. I think they're oftentimes they can be some of the best because they don't know you're looking at them. They don't have you have a camera on them, and they can be the best candid shots. They're really in their element.
Well, because we also have to think when you're shooting for a wedding, these photos are going to be seen by somebody else. So when you have those mixed in, it's not a very positive thing. They're like, oh, there's someone who doesn't care about our wedding and is not enjoying themselves. And so I actually deleted a majority of the photos that I took that weren't positive. And
that's probably good.
Yeah, and because I knew someone's going to show. Someone down the line's going to see it and like, what the hell? This is a bad photo. But I like those photos. Like I like photos of people eating. Just because they look awkward. And
yeah, he's weird.
Yeah, I have about 10 years of photos of my mom eating. And I showed her a montage of it.
Oh, yeah?
And she was like, this is weird, Richard. And I'm like, hey, it just happened naturally. And I was just going through my catalog, and I'm like, why do I have all these photos of you eating?
Bad Thanksgiving is a blast.
With me, it's a whole, everyone hates it. But you deal with it.
Dick is here. Don't eat. Wait until he leaves. Leave the food on the table.
Actually, my favorite memory is when I got the flash. Because that's when I was learning how to use it, and it reflects well off of like all the silverware and stuff like that in the room. Oh man, it was so much fun because I'm taking pictures. Everyone's like, because before I could sneak it. Now using that 70 to 200, I would be dangerous. I would sit in that corner, hide, and get pictures of people just pissed off or what.
Spaghetti in the teeth.
So great.
Everything.
Voyeurism at its finest. That's what I want. I want that lens just so I could sneak up on people. And
you'd be dangerous. You're really starting to scare me now.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there, and this La Tourette has this open backfield, and I was zooming in, see how close I could get, and I was looking at people exiting and leaving like the bars areas, and I was just going like, "This is so much fun." I was like, just taking pictures and like a PI or something like that.
Is that Dick over there in those bushes? What is he? Is he got that camera again? What he's in the window. He's looking in people's windows.
No, totally. No, it's on. If I get a lens like that, I wouldn't trust anybody. I'm gonna be taking pictures of you, and you're not gonna be knowing.
That's scary.
You feel that way?
Closing my blinds.
Sure.
No.
I haven't used a lens that long in a while though, but
So much fun.
I have a 70-200. It's like a kit one, but yeah, I can get down with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so the wedding itself was fun overall. I got to sneak up on people.
So what are we going to talk about next in our second segment? And we're going to talk about Sony cameras and their latest, the A7.
Yeah, coming up next, we're going to talk about sports photography and equipment and really what it takes to capture those shots, because if you're using a 6 frame a second camera, that's just not going to cut it. And what you're really looking for is a good ISO range, and then also your lens, like that 70 to 200 perfect lens. But and then
300
also,
would be good too. Also,
okay,
but
all right,
you
thank
need
you.
it.
There you go.
If it's a 4.0, you know.
Okay, well you're listening to Aperture.
struggling.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Struggling.
All right, Tom.
I'm just struggling.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. We'll be right back after these messages to talk about sports photography and maybe to yell at Ansel. I don't know.
Yo, Ansel,
Let's see.
what's happening, dude?
We'll be back.
Hey Lone Star Internet Radio listeners, Megan Lichtenstein here from the Woodlands Convention and Visitors Bureau, inviting you and your family to visit the Woodlands this Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, May 24th and Sunday, May 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Town Green Park in the Woodlands Town Center. Enjoy 2 evenings of live music, strolling entertainers, children's activities, and dazzling fireworks displays presented by Wells Fargo. Pack a picnic or grab carryout from one of the Woodlands' local restaurants for a picnic on the green. Memorial Day weekend in the Woodlands is produced by the Woodlands Convention and Visitors Bureau and made possible by our sponsors: Wells Fargo, the Woodlands Development Company, Xfinity, Bud Light, Houston Family Magazine, Sunny 99.1, Monday Chevrolet, Texas Premier Mortgage, Wrights Printing and Marketing, Kroger, Kidville, Remax the Woodlands in Spring, the Woodlands Resort and Conference Center, Kona Ice, DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon 2, and Gigi's Cupcakes. So grab your coolers and picnic baskets, and we'll see you this Memorial Day weekend at Town Green Park in the Woodlands. For details, go to visitthewoodlands.com or call 281-363-2447.
Hello, this is Dennis Nelson, inviting you to come with me through the doorway of imagination and into the theater of the mind. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour presents a play every Saturday night at 7 p.m. on Lone Star Internet Radio. Be it drama or comedy, thriller or love story, every exciting episode is carefully chosen straight from the golden age of radio and performed live by talented actors, musicians, and sound effects crew. Every sound you hear will be 100% live and homemade. Anything can happen. So join us, please, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. for the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio. Now for your daily weather report. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, 2014. Today's weather forecast is partly sunny with a high near 89. South winds will be 10 to 15 miles an hour. Partly cloudy later tonight with a low around 67.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Donna Wick Public Relations. You've seen the billboards? That's right, Wicked Publicity. Contact them today at 832-326-1965 and visit wickedpublicity.com.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Tom Moore. We're here with Ansel A. and Dick Schissler.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Hey. It's great. It's great to be here, Tom. It's great to be here.
It's great to be
You're listening to
here.
Aperture and Shutter Speed.
I'm a chip.
And Ansel's getting tired of this. He's like, this is so much BS, man.
You guys are
No,
nuts.
you know, before we get to sports photography, I want to talk to Ansel about the last week's show
Yeah.
and talk about branding. And did you like the ideas that we were talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they were really good ideas.
Do you like the fine art photographer label?
Yeah.
You're a fine art photographer?
I think, from watching a lot of photography related things and art photography related things on YouTube, I've tried to stay away from that term, and I just kind of say photographer, because a lot of people, I don't know, they have a hard time defining, what, fine art photographer is, or fine art in general. And so a lot of people think it comes off really pretentious. I don't think it does, but
Well, no, I could definitely
But
see
no.
that, but also it distinguishes what kind of service you offer.
sure.
Because if I heard fine art, I'd be like, oh, so you're a specialist.
Yeah.
But if you hear photographer, it's like, oh, you can do a lot of things. Like you can shoot
Yeah.
my son's baseball game,
Right.
or you can come out and do our portraits, or you can do my company's stuff.
Yeah.
But when I hear you, it's more of like, hey, I want to get a really nice picture of my wife, boudoir photographer, so I need to talk to a fine art photographer.
Sure. Yeah,
So-
I've never thought about it like that. I've never thought about
So would that be
If
your
you want.
branding? Would that be your niche?
sure.
Because you put that on your business card.
Yeah.
Fine art photographer?
So,
Ansel A?
Ansel A.
There you go.
And on the back says, if you want to come to the dark room, you have your personal phone, right? No? No?
Come in the dark room with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to start making sounds like Lurch.
But no, I think it was a good conversation.
Yeah,
That's
no,
for sure.
I did too.
So
It was very informative.
what's your next move then? You're doing a website?
I'm thinking about it. I was exploring some options, and won't be too expensive. So I just need to check it on that. I need to get a good portfolio together. I have some, but I want to try and size it down. A lot of photos I even put in albums on my Facebook. A couple months later, I'm like, why did I put that on there? I need to go delete that. So I just need to go through my stuff and get some consistency in there. And I think the stuff lately I've been working on is pretty consistent. But once I do that, then I'll probably try and open up a website and see where it goes from there. So
You don't want to be associated with us, though.
I wouldn't.
Because that's
I'd avoid that.
What's funny is I put Tom all over this show. So when you type in TR Moore Photos or Tom Moore Photography, Aperture and Shutter Speed's the first thing that comes up.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really?
I'm just kidding now. I want to see if he gets scared or not. But yeah, so that's good. I think it was a good show, and especially talking about where you want to take your photography.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're promoting photographers here. You guys need to call us because we will help you start your career. This is serious stuff.
Yeah.
And my next step is kind of just going on that, and then right now I'm waiting to hear back from School of the Art Institute of Chicago whether or not they're letting me in. So if that happens,
Why wouldn't they let you in?
I don't know.
Don't send them the show. Don't do it.
Yeah, I put it on my academic resume. Though,
Yeah.
so.
Show host. You
It got-
should totally do it. They call here. I'm like, yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Well, actually, the person who recommended me put my involvement in there, so my letter. So I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, I would.
Nervous or not.
I tell people all the time. I make stuff up all the time.
yeah.
Don't worry about it. No one's gonna know any difference.
Yeah, he's not really sitting there.
I'm not really sitting here. No. But yeah, okay, good. Now, well, I guess we can move on to sport photography.
Yeah, let's talk about Sony.
Okay. Well, now why Sony? Why do you like to choose?
Because
these
they got
people?
this awesome price on this camera. It's the A65.
Okay, Sony A65, folks. Now, this is a $500 camera, body only.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind. And it's 24 megapixels. I don't get it. It's completely unnecessary. So don't buy it because of the megapixels. But I would just buy it because it's cheap. That's the only reason I'd buy it.
Well, it gets 10 frames per
Yeah,
second.
it's a good sport. It's a good
burst.
sports
Wow.
entry level sports.
And you
right
can
there.
go up to 1600 ISO without noise. That's
So-
not high enough, but it's a very good start.
Yeah.
it'll take you to about 6 o'clock. When it starts getting dark, then you're on your own.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good deal. $498. I'd latch on to that puppy. Get a good lens, and you're on your way to sports heaven, photography heaven. Then Sony has the A7, and that's $1,698. Will produce clear imagery or images through 3200 ISO and a burst rate of 5 frames per second. And I wonder why the burst rate is slower, even though it costs 3 times as much. Can you tell me, Dick? What is your analysis?
Well, I think it's because it doesn't have. It's not SLR. It's
Probably.
it's mirrorless. It's a mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
It's
that-
mirrorless?
Yeah, it's a
Is it?
mirrorless
Wow, I
camera.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Well, you should mention the A7R too. It's the twin one that came out with it, and it's a 36 megapixel, and it doesn't have a low pass filter, I guess. I'm not really sure what it
So
does.
the processing rate is slower?
No, it has there's some kind of filter they put on in front of the sensors normally that keeps moire from happening. I'm not really sure what moire is, but I guess when people figure it out, when you take off that filter, the images come out way sharper. So it has 36 megapixels and no filter to make it super sharp, which is pretty nice. It's $800 more, but
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
yeah, it's the same. I think it's the same sensor as the D800E,
Is that a Nikon?
the Nikon. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I'm pretty limited on my camera knowledge. I just stay in my little background in my backyard with Canon and
Well, see,
hope for the best.
what's crazy to me are these mirrorless cameras, because I don't see what it's like. Basically, it's a fancier point and shoot. That's really what it comes down to.
well, yeah, but I mean, I think one of the main things, which is one of the selling points on it for me, even I wanted to try and switch over to one of the not the Sony's, but one of the mirrorless cameras, is because they're so much smaller, than the
Oh, yeah.
DSLRs. They're so much smaller and so much lighter. I mean, you put a big lens on there, and it kind of, for the most part, defeats the purpose. But all in all, they're a lot smaller, more compact, depending on what kind of lens you have on there. So I think,
Well, what's crazy about it is also the thought process that goes into shooting a photo. Because typically with SLRs that I find is you're trying to achieve that shot you're trying to take. So you adjust the shutter speed, adjust the ISO, but what happens with these cameras, in my opinion, is you're already taking good photos because it's mirrorless and it's doing what it needs to do. And so when you're actually changing the settings, you're changing because you're looking for that effect. You want to add on, like, oh, I want that blur, because it's you understand what I mean by that?
I think so.
When you say blur, you mean blur in the background?
Just anything, like when you're trying to achieve a certain thing, like, oh, I want more light, I want more exposure, and it's to me, it's like you're trying to add an effect to it,
Right.
Because it's weird to me to think about photography and not having a mirror.
Yeah.
It's because you're like, why would I change the shutter speed? There isn't a shutter,
Yeah.
and so I don't know if they're going to change the name or how they're going to do that, but
Yeah. No, it's interesting, and I mean, a lot of people just on the internet, I don't think they're taking over the DSLR sales yet, but
what do you think that's a market they're trying to go for?
I think that's exactly what they're trying to go for. I mean, if you look at the body style of the A7 and the A7R, they have like the mirror hump, where the mirror would be in a DSLR, but there's no mirror. There's just a electronic viewfinder. If you look at Fujifilm's X-T1, same thing. The Olympus OMD EM1. I mean, they all look like DSLR cameras, with a mirror, but they don't have one. And I think a lot of it also is going into the more retro design, is what they're all coming out to look like. And I think, I think it seems like that's what they're all going for, because that's what's been coming out. And, so we'll see.
Well, that's a lot less wear and tear on the camera without a mirror going up and down.
Yeah, it is.
That could be a real advantage.
Yeah. I think a couple of them are, from what I know, is the autofocus isn't isn't nearly as good as the DSLRs.
They'll fix it.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's coming. I mean, they're getting pretty fast supposedly with the new Fujifilm one, and then your battery life is limited to like 350 shots probably.
Oh, that's
whereas
terrible.
on my 60D it's like 1100.
Right.
I
I can shoot all day with one battery.
because with the electronic viewfinder you're using battery all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas
because that's actually the huge disadvantage, because there isn't a mirror, so you don't have that natural viewfinder. You have to use the digital viewfinder.
Yeah,
and
it can get laggy, and there's a funny video online that these guys did. They did a race where one of them used a mirror, a 5D Mark III, and then one of them used a Sony A7, and they were just looking. They put an eye patch over and they looked through the viewfinder, and then they went on like a race to see who would finish first. And the guy who was with the electronic viewfinder, I mean, just got lost because it's so laggy and low light. It doesn't work that well, so it's pretty.
I remember when I like with the SLRs, because I'd shot with an SLR, because I think I have like a Canon, I don't know, EOS something, like one of those mid-table film ones. Medieval, yeah. Well, I remember when I bought my 20D, and I think it was like the 40D came out, and you can actually look through the LCD screen what you're shooting. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, who's going to hold their DSLR heavy camera and look at it like you're shooting a point and shoot? You know what I'm talking about? And I was like, that's crazy. Who would do that? And the people who I've seen do it, actually, they do the above the head shots. Mm-hmm. And they have the screen so they can see what they're shooting if they're trying to get a picture of Andre Johnson or whatever, doing that kind of stuff. But I guess with these, it's all you have to use the viewfinder no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, you could use the screen too. I mean, mine has one down on the back, but yeah, that's kind of the thing that for me is why I'm hesitant to get one, just because of the EVF. I'm not really sure. I kind of like the the optical viewfinder, right? There's no lag because it's not a mini TV.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a lot of power to drive that. And we also have, and maybe we can talk about in the next segment because we're running out of time here, but the Swan, which is
we'll talk about the Swan
video camera.
GoPro has some competition.
Yeah.
But I think also when you're dealing with sports photography, these cameras, like the mirrorless cameras, that gives you an idea how they're changed, because I'm looking at the A7R, the one that you were talking about, and it's 36 megapixels, which is great. But if you go down to the exposure system and the shutter speed, it can go to 1 to 8,000. And I'm trying to find how many frames per second this camera can do, because I don't think it's as high. It can't be.
It's 5 frames per second, isn't it?
That was the not the R. This is just the regular A7. Because I mean, to me that's a huge disadvantage. Like I'm just gonna talk crap about this camera. This camera's awful. I don't know why anyone would ever use it. Only maybe soccer moms, and they're gonna be awful anyway, so it doesn't matter. But no, Tom. Yeah,
that's probably a good idea.
Just giving you a hard time. But yeah, so when we come back,
they're easier to use. I would suggest soccer moms.
When we come back, we're gonna talk about the Swan camera, which is basically a competitor to GoPro.
Yeah,
and those are kind of cool.
And they're cheap.
And then,
I would really like to see one in action. You have to buy one for us, Dick.
No, I already have GoPros. Why would I buy those?
Well, so you know what the competition is.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. We'll be back. We're hanging out with Ansel fine art photographer, world renowned.
Soon to be.
And trmorephotos.com. And me, Dick, we'll be back talking about sports photography. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed.
I'm Lauren Maddox for Lone Star College System. Lone Star College Conroe Center has teamed up with Workforce Solutions to provide free training for those seeking a career in the high-demand fields of machining or welding. If you are at least 18 years old, are currently unemployed, have no prior college credit, and meet the requirements to take the test of adult basic education, you might qualify for free tuition, books, and training to become a machinist or welder from Lone Star College Conroe Center. Students receive hands-on training, intense advising, and guidance on entering the workforce. New classes are starting this month,
And Lone Star College Conroe Center offers a variety of class times, including late night and Sunday options that best fit with your busy schedule. Learn more about this opportunity and see if you qualify at lonestar.edu/ABE Innovation or call 936-521-4552. I'm Lauren Maddox for Lone Star College System.
This is Rick Schissler, the host of the Weekly Business Hour. Have you ever thought about maybe, possibly, even considering LASIK? Then call my friends at Man Eye Institute, 1-800-MY-VISION, and talk to them about a free LASIK consultation. The thing about Man Eye Institute is they want their patients to be happy. That's their number one goal. Whether you decide to have LASIK, if you decide to have another procedure, if you decide to wait, whatever it is, the folks at Man Eye Institute want you to be happy and informed and comfortable with your decision. That's why I never hesitate to recommend a free LASIK consultation for anyone who's even thinking about maybe getting LASIK. 1-800-MY-VISION is the Man Eye Institute number because you get to walk through the process, have a thorough eye exam, and have all your questions answered. Before you leave Man Eye, you'll know exactly what your options are and you can make the right decision for you. So don't hesitate. Call Man Eye Institute now for a free LASIK consultation at one of their 9 Houston and Austin area offices, including right here in the Woodlands. 1-800-MY-VISION. That's 1-800-698-4746. Discover more right now when you visit maneye.com about the benefits of LASIK eye surgery.
Hi, I'm Tina, and I will be your host for a new program on Lone Star Internet Radio. I call it Retro Saturdays. Every Saturday at 5 p.m., I will be playing music from the 1930s to the 1970s. I will play a different genre of music every weekend of the month. You will hear big band music, jazz, 70s classic rock, and 60s oldies. Join us for Retro Saturdays at 5 p.m. every Saturday of the month. Go to irlonestar.com for more information on Retro Saturdays on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Shake it like a Polaroid, Tom. Shake it like a Polaroid, Tom.
Baby.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed with me, Dick Schissler, and fine art photographer Ansel.
Yes.
Yes, and then this guy Tom. I found him.
Gutter
Tom.
Photos.com.
Gutter Tom over here.
Gutters galore.
Yeah. But we're talking about sports photography, and our next topic Tom wanted to talk about is the next competitor to GoPro. GoPros I talk very highly of them.
They do a good job.
They do a good job. I still don't understand why you would buy the $500 one. I still don't get that.
You'd have to have it to know, probably. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's true about any technology. Okay, because I use a 70, and now I want one of those.
Yeah.
And I have that lens I want to use one of those. But, because I do have some experience with the GoPros, and we talked about this where we bought.
We're recording now.
We're recording on a GoPro. But,
how about that?
But I had a lowest level, and then I had a mid level.
And what was the difference?
The only difference is you can zoom in. That was really the only difference.
That's not very big.
And and you're spending an extra $100.
Yeah, it's not good.
So that kind of disappointed me.
The Swann, SWANN.
The Swann Freestyle 1080p HD waterproof sports video camera, $124. That is about $70 cheaper than the lowest one of GoPro.
And if it's competitive in quality, then that's a great deal.
And it has 3 digital. It has the zoom, which is and it also has the LCD on the back. Because GoPros don't have an LCD.
Right.
And did you mention it is waterproof up to 32 feet? And it comes with a laser pointer. That's pretty cool.
What's the laser pointer for?
Well, if you shoot in at night, I guess you can, laser on. Just shoot them right between
That's
the
the
eye.
most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Well, I mean, some people dig it. Yeah, it's got a laser, Dad. You gotta have it. It's got a laser.
Okay.
You know?
All right,
And
Tom.
also, it's voice activated when in Vox mode. Does that get you going?
No.
You ready to get one? Give me a dozen. It's got Vox mode.
Well, it's funny that always interested me when you see these professionals sport, it's extreme sport. Because that's what this is for. This is for extreme sports or for car wrecks or whatever. And I always think about how they activate these cameras. Because especially if you're mountain biking and you're a minimalist, like you're not going to be, let me get my phone out and turn it on and make sure that the angle's good. Or
It's voice activated.
but this thing's voice activated.
Yeah. See?
So
There's
is it
your
like
answer.
is it like the Xbox where you're just like sitting there talking to yourself the whole time?
Yeah, and people like say, they got to carry this guy away. He's losing it. He's talking to his camera.
But yeah, it's still a good option. The funny thing about people who own GoPros, the people I know, they never use them, and when they do use them, they never go to post production with their stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because they come to me.
Oh, because
And
they
I'm-
don't know how to do it. Why?
Well, I'm just like, man, just don't bother me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not like that. It's always fun.
Take your $500 and go someplace else.
No, I don't charge people because I'm an
Well, you
idiot.
need to start.
But
I want to show you how to do that.
so what would you use this camera for, Tom?
Well, I'll tell you what, it would be cool for a wedding because you could get all these angles, and instead of running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to get left and right, you could just point one at the groom, and you could focus on the bride and just relax,
Yeah.
If it's good quality, So I don't know. But for $124, I mean...
Yeah, no one's complaining. So I mean, I still don't see the need for GoPros. I think the situation we're using it is completely unique because I just wanted to put up like a webcam, and I didn't have the cords and I had the space, so I was like, GoPro would be a good idea.
You really don't... With sports, you don't see?
Well, I mean, how
You're
often?
destroying the industry, dude.
Well, how often do I go skydiving, Tom?
Well, you need to start.
No.
You need to start skydiving. We're going to sign you up.
Well, most people who I know who document their little journeys, they don't care. Like after when they get done, they don't look at it. They're like, "Oh, what is this?" Yeah, and then
But they put them on YouTube.
no, actually, the most reoccurring thing is when they want to use it. It's like, "Oh man, my memory card's full from last time, and I never dumped the stuff."
Well, they're just losers.
So,
They're losers.
I still don't get it. I'm not there yet, I guess.
Got to bring you along, man. Got to bring you along.
But
Yeah, but in sports, if you want to get some good action, if someone's just coming a little off the ground with their skateboard, or if they're a soccer player and they're a little off the ground, it makes a big difference.
I mean, makes you look cooler.
It really makes you look, because you can see grass under their feet. It's like, and maybe the sun's coming down and the sun is going under.
Well, I mean,
their foot.
I would
It's
have
really
it
cool.
for insurance reasons.
Yeah.
Put it in your car. And one of those people.
Or when you get pulled over, you can photograph the cops.
Yeah.
If they want to beat you with a club.
But
or
for
something.
sports, I just don't do enough sports. I guess, like especially when you see videos
Yeah,
of
but
your.
when you have kids and your mom's a soccer mom, she's going to really like the fact that you introduced her to the swan.
No,
No?
sorry, she wouldn't use it. She wouldn't. Use
She
it.
wouldn't. She wouldn't
She
use
use
it.
her phone.
She's not
That's what I'm
cool.
saying. I don't really get it, and especially with people who do go like mountain biking, you see their video and it's something spectacular. It's like, oh, you went mountain biking.
Yeah.
What am I watching here? You go up and down this hill. This is what you want people to see.
What about the fools that run into a tree? I mean, that's always good to
Yeah.
put on YouTube.
And we use it for time lapse stuff.
Right.
So that because you can be used that way.
Okay. Well, let's talk about good settings for sports photography.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because that
Where you
swan
gonna
idea is a
start?
horrible idea, Tom.
Okay.
This show
Ditch
sucks
the
today, Tom.
swan.
This show is
No
so
more
dull.
swan. Let's make it a duck.
Golly. But yeah, we're talking about sports photography, and action motion is really the theme.
Yeah.
And now let's see if we can redeem the show. We got a couple more segments.
I strongly suggest you don't shoot slower than a 250
No.
when you're shooting sports.
No.
Unless you want to blur like the audience and you want to pan with the runner, then that's really cool. And you go down like to 100 to maybe even an 80, which is going to bring you a lot of light in, but you risk blurring the athlete as well. But you try it, practice it on your kid, get them to run across, the road, go run across a highway, run fast, and then pan across.
Well, then see, that's where it comes into equipment-wise, because a lot of people don't have access to, the front gate or,
well, then
the
you need
bullpen.
to talk to the authorities.
So you need to know what you need. You need to get a 70 to 200 or 300 lens, and that allows you the mobility of moving around without,
It looks so bad, man. It just looks so bad. You got to get on the field. Then you can lay on the ground. And when you lay on the ground and shoot
Tom's
up,
the guy
it looks amazing.
So Tom's getting arrested when he goes to these baseball games.
No, I've never been arrested. I've been run off a few times, but I've never been arrested. No, I always got permission. A few times I didn't, but when you walk in with a really long lens and you have
people just think
they'd say you're with press, you can go in for free. They just let you in. It's really neat. And they give you hot dogs. I don't eat them. I throw them down. I don't eat hot dogs, but
you throw them down.
I throw them down on the field, man. You can't imagine the injuries.
The ant problem they have there. But this is the worst show, Tom. You got to talk to me more about this. All right, so you're
This
talking,
is a great show. I love this show.
You're talking about sports photography and the settings you need to shoot depending on... Wait, let's pick a sport. That's what we should do. We should pick a sport.
Well, you like soccer.
I like soccer, and the thing about soccer is it's played across the field, so you really are limited because you can't teleport on the other side of the field. So you can't anticipate. So you're kind of stuck, and you got to get a good position, and usually the sideline's a good position. Or the ones I like, if you have the zoom lens, is you get behind the goal because people will be facing you while shooting the soccer ball.
But there's an issue about being at the goal.
Why?
Because there's no light at the goal. In most of these high school games, that's the deal. You can't see them. It's really bad. So you've got to get like on the 20-yard line. If you get behind the goal, it's a really good idea. Then you can bring in a flash, but you have to make sure the flash is going to work. It's going to have to be a real high-dollar one, $500-$600 flash. It'll shoot 50 feet. If you do that, then that's great.
And you
that's
blind
perfect.
some people.
Then you
blind.
Then you
right when they shoot.
Exactly.
Oh,
and there's an issue there. You can get away with that in high school, but when you get in college or pro, they're not going to allow that.
I mean,
flashes.
I
on
would
the
just
field.
You got to get a zoom camera. You got a zoom lens. You got to.
Yeah, you got to have a zoom.
Yeah. And there's so many cool ones out there. I think the entry level ones are fine too.
And the entry level will work during the day. If you have a 4.0, it will work during the day, but at night, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. No. But I would get, if you're gonna really get serious about sports photography, invest in a 300 millimeter. If you go to 2.8, 300 millimeter, it's gonna be $12,000.
No, don't listen to him. Don't
if
do that.
you get
don't
a 300 4.0 little entry level, you can use them fine during the day, but at night, trash all.
Well, what's funny about that is when I was shooting for the school paper, there were certain places that you could do all right. Like the baseball games, that was okay because you knew where they're going to be. They're stationary the whole time. But when I had to go shoot football, I hated it because the lighting wasn't balanced all the way around the field.
That's terrible.
And so the shots you would get, it'd be so hard to get even an adequate shot.
In the middle of the field's the best place.
And no, really, that's you had to get as close as you could to the sideline because it infuriated me because I couldn't get a decent shot. And when I would finally get one, I still didn't think it was good. It was usable. But I was like, no, forget it. Like this is horrible.
Your lightings can be the best, say between the 30 and the 30. And as you get closer to the uprights, it just falls off real bad. And it can be very disappointing because if it's a big game, all you see is, pixelated noise. It's not good.
And looking at these cameras and seeing which one, the lenses, the one I use this weekend is probably when you have to have a well-rounded equipment set. And that 70 to 200, the F's to 2.8 f-stop, that's the ultimate lens to have for many things because that f-stop allows you to get more exposure and it's easier. It has more options, especially in sports. You got to be adaptable and
fast.
You can get there. I mean, you can do the blur. The blur effect's kind of cool, but when you get an action shot that's still, like say like one of my favorite shots is this dude hitting a baseball bat or hitting a ball, and his face he looks angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I showed it to him, I was like, "Hey man, you got some anger problems." And I showed it to him, and he's like, "Oh man,
anger management class."
yeah," because he's
meets
just
on
killing
Mondays
it.
and Tuesdays.
He's just killing it, and you see that raw emotion, especially like on these series. These guys are they're playing for a college level baseball team, so it's always fun to see that kind of expression.
Because they want to go pro.
Yeah, and it's some sports photography. You can do some cool stuff. The only thing I warn you guys is don't walk around like little league places. Like people think you're weird because you're taking photos.
Especially with a long zoom lens.
Yeah.
Hiding,
What is
hiding in a bush.
And that's one thing.
Now, there's Dick over there in the bushes again.
Yeah, Dick, we told you just can't be doing this stuff. Oh man, no. And that's one thing lady photographers have over men because because we are. I've already said that's what I would do if I had a zoom lens. I would just spy on people and get some really cool shots. But yeah, so that's
Is that cool or weird, Dick?
I think it's cool.
Okay.
But 70 to 200, that's a good range for sports photography. That puts you like if you're in the third row of a baseball stadium, you can get some decent shots. If you go to 300, you could probably get up into the 6th or 10th row, and you still should be okay.
And something you need to be aware of.
What?
Do not chimp when you're on the field.
Chimp?
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about that when we come back.
No chimping.
I don't know what that means.
I know.
But you're listening.
Gotcha.
You're listening to Aperture and golly. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're hanging out here with Ansel A, fine art photographer, trmorephotos.com, and me talking about motion photography and sports is the focus. So when we come back, we're gonna have some more fun.
Hi, I'm Joyce with the Corner Pub in downtown Conroe. We're located at the corner of Simonton and North Main, just across the street from the courthouse. The week starts off Monday with open mic hosted by Alan, and Tuesday nights open mic hosted by Jeremy Bankhead. And on Thursday evening, McFarland Jams. There's nightly drink specials available every night, all night. And don't forget, live entertainment every weekend. To see a full list of events, visit our website at thecornerpubinconroe.com. So come join us at the Corner Pub, where the deli is open late.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial, and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio. Now for your daily weather report. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, 2014. Today's weather forecast is partly sunny with a high near 89. South winds will be 10 to 15 miles an hour. Partly cloudy later tonight with a low around 67.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Donawick Public Relations. You've seen the billboards? That's right, wicked publicity. Contact them today at 832-326-1965 and visit wickedpublicity.com.
You are listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Tom Moore, TR Moore Photos. We're here with Ansel A. and Dick Schissler, and we just did an analysis on the A7 Sony. And back in the Roman days when they were in the arena and the Spartans were fighting, and it came time to do a thumbs up or thumbs down to let the guy live or perish, the Caesar would do thumbs up, thumbs down, or the audience would. And with the A7 Sony, what is it? Thumbs up or thumbs down, guys?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs
I'd
down?
go down.
Thumbs down. So it's a killer.
I still don't see the need for these
Don't
mirrorless.
see the need.
No, I don't see it.
Okay, take out the sword. It's over. It's bleeding to death.
Yeah, the mirrorless systems. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Unless you're not shooting sports, and unless you're okay with
Well,
being limited to like 3 native lenses, which I think is what they're at right now. I mean, you can get adapters, and you can put Canon lenses on it. Just you have to
well,
get
I think
adapters.
when you're looking at as a photographer, like for you have film and digital, so you have a lot more options with what equipment you have. But my need would be purely, I just need one camera to do everything, and that's why my favorite camera is the Mark III, the Canon 5D, because it can do pretty much anything.
Right.
And so you're looking at spending that kind of money. I'm like, why would I buy this?
If all you could do is portraits, and all you can do is landscapes.
Right.
And it looks cool. It's a neat looking camera, but I mean, I'm not. And then, like I said, like I think it's just a glorified point and shoot, which is not a bad thing. Like you can get some cool photos, and it's 34 megapixels. I mean, that's crazy. The color you get on that thing would be awesome.
Should be.
But my needs would be more towards the SLRs.
Yeah, and that's why the mirrorless companies are having trouble with, because they're putting out stuff like that, and they're not getting all the people that they want.
Well, because you're sitting there, you're like, what would I get? Because I know a lot of amateurs out there, they're looking to take the step up, and you don't have a lot of money, and you don't have a lot of, I guess, resources to spend on a new camera system, especially the lenses.
Right.
And a lot of people like choose Nikon or Canon because they have the most flexibility among it.
You can get a Canon lens for $100. You can't get any one of these mirrorless cameras. Well, maybe you can get like one, but you know what I mean. Well, but you're also limited to 6 to 10 lenses at the most, and that's the most they have right now. Where Canon, Nikon, there's such a wide variety of what you can buy. So I definitely think, if you're just getting into it or something, I would definitely rather go with that than the mirrorless. Mirrorless, I think, it's really just like a niche thing. The Fuji X-T1, it looks retro. It has shutter dials on them and stuff, and
I have heard of this because that was one of the neatest things I've seen, because it actually has the ISO and the shutter speed clicked.
Oh yeah.
So to me, as a photographer, that's what I'd want. I don't want to actually cycle through it all.
Right.
I can actually see it. I want 2000 like that, and you're there. Instead of like going through, like, all right, I gotta find 2000.
Yeah, well, that's why I like this one. I mean, I have the aperture and the shutter dials on here, and then it would complement mine.
Yeah.
I don't really need it. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably shoot it for a week, and then it'd be sitting where my Canon is now. But it looks pretty neat.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like. Did you know that about these cameras, Tom?
No.
All those settings, because to me, I'm holding my 20D, and when I use my settings, I actually use the viewfinder. So, because at the bottom of the viewfinder, usually they're telling you what it is. So you're sitting there doing this little number where you're cycling through. You can hear it. I'm cycling. Right. But now with that, you can just go, okay, I want to do 20 shutter, 200 shutter speed, aperture at 4. And then I think that, to me, I wish I had a camera. Now that makes me want it now. Damn
Get
it.
one of these for
You want what?
$500.
Those style.
You do? So you can see it all in the screen.
No, you can actually see the shutter speed on the dial.
Yeah, like the dial.
Oh yeah, like the old cameras.
Yeah,
like the film cameras.
So
yeah. Well, let's look at that.
I mean, that to me
this, again, looks like a Leica. It's a really cool looking camera. It's like, this guy's got a Leica. Let's hit him in the head.
But still, the mirrorless system, I don't see it ever being. I still don't get it. I wish somebody would explain it to me, and I don't think I can be argued for it.
I don't understand why they did that. And that's like building the Edsel, I guess, or some weird car that went out the first year and didn't make it. So everybody's wondering what chimping is. Let me explain to you what chimping is. That's when you shoot photos on a field, and you're looking at all your photos as you're shooting them. You look at them, you shoot, you look. First of all, what you're going to do is you're going to miss photo shoots because you're looking at your camera, and you could be run over.
What's funny is I ran into that problem at the wedding because an 8 gigabyte card could only hold 300 shots.
So you have to erase a lot.
So, and I'm like, 300, that's it? 300?
Yeah, but that's not on a football field, so you don't have to worry about something like clunking you in the head with
but that was crazy to me. Can you imagine that?
That is crazy.
Even though 300
extra card.
Yeah, I did. I had a 4 gigabyte and I had a 2 gigabyte, and I'm old school. I got all this old stuff, so it's just like, and I put my 4 gigabyte. Oh, you get 120 shots. I'm like, no.
But that's good, because if you lose something or if something happens and you have your others, like, what if it fails on you?
Well, no, I'm not saying. I'm used to having 1,000 shots on my cards, and I didn't.
A lot of photographers just use an 8. They don't go up to 16 or 32 or 64 or any of that. I mean, you have the advantage of having it all in one card.
Yeah, we talked about that. I remember
lose
that.
a card,
I
but
remember that.
but that someone might be listening new. They might want to know.
see your camera?
It's cool.
I like these cameras. Don't think I'm a butthole. I realize that. Don't think I'm a butthole, please. Yeah, see, these are tight. I like that right here. But we're doing a radio show. That's right. Almost got lost again. But yeah, so sports photography. We're going to talk about more about it next Wednesday. I think we're going to talk about try to get somebody in the studio talking about how to get access to it, because like Tom says, you can just show up with a camera and then people think you're automatically supposed to be there, which is a great thing most of the time. But you also need the opportunity to put yourself in a position to take good photos. So like the Woodland Strikers, the minor league baseball team, that would be a great spot to call and ask and get involved and get some photos, because, and I know one thing I like to do is I share my photos. So if I'm asking somebody to kind of shoot these at this place, I'm going to give it to them. Just give it to them because as a thank you or something like that. And because like I remember I told you that last time, that's what I would do if I shot at a place. I'd be like, thanks for, and I'd take a really nice photo of their restaurant or something, and I'll go ahead and frame it and give it to them. Like, thank you so much, kind of thing. But you know, we're gonna have to go. It's the end of the show, so it's good to see Ansel. Of course, every day it's good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have to start teaching you how to be a venture capitalist.
Yeah.
And stop giving away your work.
But you're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio with Aperture
Start
and
making
Shutter
money.
Speed. We're going to be here every Wednesday at 3
Money.
p.m. with trmorephotos.com, me, Dick Schissler, and hopefully Ansel more and more and more. We're going to...
Unless he moves to Chicago.
We're getting weekly updates about
Windy
the
City.
fine art photography world. I think he's going to go to boudoir photography. I can smell it. But yeah, you're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed, and we'll be back next week. Motion photography.
This is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.